Ladies and gentlemen, after 2 decades in power, Erdogan's presidency could come to an end before we move on to like fun stuff and fun content.
Under 2 weeks, Turkey's president will face his biggest electoral test as the country goes to the polls. Recep Tayyip Erdogan has been in power for 2 decades, but recently his popularity has taken a hit due to Turkey's ongoing economic crisis and his handling of a devastating earthquake. He's also up against an opposition that's finally united around one candidate.
Recep Tayyip Erdogan likes to win. And for the past 20 years, his grip on power has only strengthened.
Weeby, remember this. Is Weeby the new Megaphonics in my absence? I've noticed you pummeling him a lot lately. Implying that you haven't even been absent, by the way. So, because you're keeping tabs on what's going on in the chat and who I'm yelling at in the chat. I'm going to jump in lava in Minecraft? Yeah, I mean, once you get called out by Megaphonics, it's over.
With the help of his AK party, he's transformed Turkey's parliamentary system into a presidential one. He controls the major sectors of the country, from the economy to the military. He's also successfully silenced a number of critics, including political rival Selahattin Demirtas, who's been in jail since 2016. Outside Turkey, Erdogan has increased his influence on the international stage. It was his final approval that allowed Finland to join NATO
Is the opposition a CIA asset? Brother, it's Turkey. They're all assets of the American State Department. There is no person in Turkey that's like against American intervention in their country. We are a NATO nation. They won a long time ago. And by we, I mean Turkey, and by they, I mean America. Turkey is a client state.
But he continues to hold up Sweden's membership bid.
Was the coup attempt real? Yeah, I do believe that that was an American coup attempt. Because, like, even if you're a client state, sometimes you will still have... Even if you're a client state, you know, America still's like, okay, but we want you to be more of a client state. You know what I mean?
Erdogan's made no secret of his friendship with Russian President Vladimir Putin, NATO's biggest threat. He's already purchased an air defense system from Moscow, much to the West's frustration. Last week, the two leaders jointly unveiled Turkey's first nuclear power plant, which is being built by Russia's state nuclear company Rosatom. But behind the scenes at home, things haven't been going.
Like, nuclear power plants, I'm not as bearish as I once was, okay? I'm not. It's just like, it doesn't matter. We're fucked anyway. But do I believe that the Turkish government is going to, I don't know, especially as it like sits on fucking fault lines. Do I believe that the Turkish government is going to do the right things? The Erdogan government is going to do the right things to ensure that, like, I don't know, a fucking seismic shift doesn't immediately lead to like some kind of nuclear meltdown that makes Fukushima look like nothing, like look like your fucking microwave. No, I think Turkey is not going to do a good job. Because like the thing about nuclear power plants is like, as long as you are careful, they're supposed to be way cleaner, right? But if you're not careful, it can be really bad.
Going his way. Inflation is still stubbornly high. Even official figures put it at around 50%. That's created a cost of living crisis that's hurting even the president's most loyal supporters. Erdogan's also trying to deal with the fallout from an earthquake that killed tens of thousands of people. Many blame him personally for responding too slowly to the disaster and for the country being ill-prepared for such a crisis. On top of that, Erdogan's facing an opposition that's managed to unite behind one candidate in order to get him out of power.
I know all of Turkey's problems. We know them all, and we will solve them all. We have the knowledge, we have the experience, and we have the strength. The strength is you, no one else. The power is the people, it is you.
Erdogan spent the campaign trying to hit back, blaming everyone and everything for Turkey's problems.
We are here to open the door of Turkey's century, together with our nation against coup plotters, tutelage defenders, global imperialists, political and social engineering projects.
While Erdogan still has huge support, this time round it may not be enough to secure him another term.
One of the places worst hit by February's devastating earthquakes is the southeastern city of Adıyaman. It's usually a stronghold for President Erdogan, but as our correspondent Yulia Hahn reports, people there are disappointed by the government's response.
The cemetery in Adıyaman is getting bigger every day. More than 7,000 new graves have been added here since February's earthquakes. Many are temporary, without headstones. Memories salvaged from the rubble. A bridal veil, a soccer jersey. Sevda Alacan comes here almost every day. She lost a large part of her family in the quakes.
This is my niece's grave. She was 9 months old.
Why do you
Here
say
are my
retail workers
father
hate their
and my
life?
mother. Here is one of my brothers with his children and his wife. Sometimes I wish I had died too. It's hard to go on living like this.
Survived and yet torn from life. This is how so many feel here in Adıyaman. Aylin Dağdevir'in mourns the loss of her parents.
There's no way to come back from this. Like, there's just no... I mean, obviously the human toll is fucking devastating, but, like, no matter how hard Erdogan has fucked the country over and over again... what the fuck? Bro, she's chewing cables now. She found fucking cables in the wall. Hey, why are you such a baby? Be an adult. Such a baby. Baby-like behavior. Oh, bro, I thought your dog was about to get zapped in 4K. My heart dropped. Yeah, this is why. Nice, bitch just needed a chew. Listen, this is why you can't leave your fucking dog roaming around a house when they're only 8 weeks old. Okay? Even when you are like round the clock surveilling your dog with not only by yourself, but with like 32,000 other people. Hocam siyaseti yayınına soktuğumun provokatörü ne oldu? Karı kızdan hard drive'ın mı doldu? This guy's an Erdogan supporter. Diğerleri daha kötü, o yüzden onlara oy şans vermiyoruz. Diğerleri kim mi? Aksener Kılıçdaroğlu, Demişbaş ve milliyetçi geçinen zavallı Bahçeli. This is a AKP supporter who said, fuck the politics you're doing. I will stick my dick in your broadcast, you fucking provocateur. What happened? Is your hard drive full from all the girls that are in it? This is another one. Your dog will be a supporter of Satan if you don't get up. Walk that dog or you piss, brother, man. PKK, Erdogan #1. Shouldn't allow a bone. This dog will be given away soon. Come on, dog. Been on the platform since 2012 too. God damn, dude. Bro, her ass better not be trying to fucking get to those cables again. She's like, you know what? The bone was fine. But you know what's delicious? Those motherfucking cables I was pulling out of the wall earlier. Like I'm a goddamn licensed electrician. Like a certified. You know what I mean? She's like, I went to trade school. I know what I'm doing here, okay? I got my certification. I'm going to take those cables out. Dog, you're getting canceled on Twitty. Another day. This time, I'm getting canceled on Twitter because someone wants to kill me, apparently. Like, I mean, it's not even a serious threat or anything. It's fucking stupid. But, you know, my B homeboy. She is as much as an electrician as you are a blacksmith. I am a blacksmith. How dare you?
She wasn't in Adıyaman the day the quake struck. When she came back, her family home was gone. Large parts of the city had collapsed. Rescue teams arrived late. People felt abandoned. Aylin is still angry about the government's crisis management.
No one admits mistakes. No one steps down. No one takes responsibility. If the buildings had been built earthquake-proof, if the authorities had checked regularly, then surely fewer people would have died.
Many in Turkey have criticized President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's slow response to the disaster. They also accuse him and his government of not having done enough to prevent unsafe and corrupt building practices. The president, who's fighting for a third term in office, has admitted that there were some shortcomings and promised a reconstruction project of historic proportions.
We're starting the construction of permanent housing, which is the most important need, at a pace that is hard to believe. We're determined to deliver 319,000 houses with their infrastructure, public buildings, social facilities and commercial areas within 1 year.
His main rival in the upcoming elections is Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, who has a good chance of ousting Erdogan, polls suggest. He claims the president's reconstruction plans will cost the earthquake victims too much money.
We'll rebuild these houses quickly and it will cost you nothing. Why does the current government want to charge you money? If homes collapse because they're not earthquake-proof, then the government is responsible, not the citizens.
Weeks have passed since the earthquakes, and yet the destruction here is still overwhelming, and the survivors' grief and trauma heart-wrenching. Whoever wins the upcoming elections will face a seemingly impossible task: to bring back hope when now there is only despair. At the cemetery in Adıyaman, the discussion about the upcoming elections seems far away. Sevda Alacan hopes that she and the small family she has left will have a future, that they will get the real help they need. And not just empty promises during an election campaign.
Well, let's bring in Yulia live now. How do you think the earthquake will affect this election?
Well, it's difficult to say because 11 provinces have been affected by the quakes. In Adıyaman, a stronghold of President Erdogan, many people told us they have lost confidence in the long-time leader and his ruling party, that they have changed their minds. But we don't know how this is going to affect the overall outcome of the elections, because after all, it's a huge logistic challenge to organize an election in a disaster zone. Authorities have said they would set up ballot boxes in temporary shelters like containers or tents. And then there are at least 2 million people who moved out of the earthquake-hit provinces to other Turkish cities. And according to the figures we've seen, only a fraction of them have re-registered their addresses. So in order to be able to cast their votes, they have to return to the disaster zone. The opposition says they're trying to organize buses to get people over there, but there are concerns that many people won't be able to vote in the upcoming elections, and that feeds into overall concerns here across Turkey regarding election security and potential voter fraud. The main opposition alliance says it's trying to mobilize up to 500,000 people to monitor the May 14 elections.
What will be the decisive issues, do you think? Because you don't just have the earthquake, you've also got the financial woes of the country, and they've only got worse since the earthquakes, of course.
Indeed, indeed. One of the issues that is worrying voters more than anything is the economic situation. What we've seen here in Turkey in recent years is an inflation-driven cost of living crisis, and that has eroded support for President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. People tell me they no longer know how to pay their rents, their bills. They have to think twice what they can actually afford to buy at the supermarket. Family budgets have eroded. That has angered voters across the political spectrum. And then if you talk to young voters. And millions of first-time voters will head to the ballot box in the upcoming elections. They have never seen another leader than Recep Tayyip Erdogan, and they strongly oppose the current government's clampdowns on freedom of expression, media, lifestyles, and that is something the opposition is trying to use. They promise an end to one-man rule here in Turkey, a return to parliamentary democracy, to freedom of speech, independent institutions. So this election really has turned into a referendum on Recep Tayyip Erdogan's 20-year rule.
So what sort of a chance does the president's main challenger stand against Erdogan?
Well, this vote is too close to call. Polls show that it's a neck-on-neck race between Erdogan and his main challenger, Mr. Kılıçdaroğlu. If none of them gets at least 50% of the vote on May 14, there will be a runoff. The president's challenger has an alliance of 6 opposition parties supporting him and the tacit support of the main pro-Kurdish party, the HDP here in the country. They are seen as a kingmaker. The campaigns are very different. Erdogan is emphasizing his strongman image, his achievements over the past years, mega projects, while Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu is a more soft-spoken character, a former civil servant who addresses voters from his modest kitchen at home, who's trying to present himself as someone who can solve people's problems, who is about reconciliation and not polarization. But as I said, it's going to be a very tough race.
Yeah, and the mega project.
The fact that it's still like a relatively tough race says a lot about the stranglehold that Erdogan has on the media, and says even more about like how dumb some motherfuckers are in Turkey. No matter what, Erdogan does have or did have popular support. With the coalition that he crafted with the MHP party, the ultranationalists, he was able to literally fucking, scrounge up at least 51% support. It's crazy, but it's true. There's still a fuckload of people. It's like, if you claw your eyes out at the way that like Trump supporters behave after like a school shooting, think about school shooting like activities happening all the fucking time. Not like mass shootings all the time, but like, how do I describe it? It's like a multitude of different school shooting style failures of government happening literally every single day. And then motherfuckers being like, nah, actually, he's still the best. And the rest is like, outside English agitators. They are spies for the British. Like, just absolutely unimaginably psychotic fucking ways of like looking directly at a fucking systemic failure and being like, you know what? It's actually Erdogan is still the best, though. Like, oh, hell no. Erdogan is still the best. Fuck you if you don't agree with it. And it's been like that for 20 fucking years. Like, it's just crazy. I don't remember a lot of the focus on his more authoritarian tendencies until after the coup. No, because, okay, well, there's a reason for that. Because that was a Western-backed, Western-facilitated coup. But leading up to the coup, he was still very much a fucking authoritarian shithead. He was just not on like really bad terms with the West. As as far as theatrics goes, for foreign policy, he's still very much like a NATO guy. You know what I mean? But also in the aftermath of the coup, he restructured the Turkish form of governance to a presidential system so that he could maintain his power and prominence. So he utilized the failed coup d'etat to the best of his abilities by declaring martial law and then holding a referendum vote to change the Turkish constitution and to terminate the parliamentary power structure that they had. Even though he was still like leading the nation, he basically codified and made permanent his power from the presidency. Is the theory that the coup being planned by Erdogan himself to maintain power a plausible theory? No, it's the reason why I don't think it was created by Erdogan himself is because who was engaging in the coup? It was Fethullah Gülen people. Fethullah Gülen, alongside Recep Tayyip Erdogan, was able to put his tentacles into every facet of Turkish government, all the way down to like police forces, like entire brigades in the fucking military. Fethullah Gülen is an American CIA asset. Originally, they were homies. Fethullah Gülen and Recep Tayyip Erdogan were homies. They're from the same clan, I guess. And then I think America moved and basically wanted to utilize the parallel government that they had overseen and seize power. The only part of the Turkish side that I would concede to was that like Erdogan utilized it to his advantage, and maybe even had prior warning that it was going to happen, and let it happen so that he could like take advantage, you know, of the chaos that ensued afterwards. You know what I mean? Darbe görüntülerini izlesene, content olur. Oğlum nasıl göstereyim lan onu? Manyak mısın? İnsanlar ölüyor. Like a 9/11 type situation. Yeah. Not wrong. Fethullah and Erdogan are two different branches of the Nakşibendi cult in Turkey, which dates like 600 years. I mean, I'm talking about like the contemporary iteration of this group of individuals. You know what I mean? It's like a cult. But remember, that happened, and then he did a referendum to change the Turkish constitution, and he won the referendum. Okay? He won that shit, meaning like there was popular support once again. Aren't they Wahhabist extremists? Fuck no. Ironically, as a matter of fact, the reason why Fethullah Gülen, at least in the CIA circles, the reason why Fethullah Gülen is promoted and was built up was to be a counterbalance, and that was going to promote a more tolerant form of Islam against the Wahhabist extremism that the CIA previously was responsible for. Fethullah Gülen is seen as like America's oopsie. I guess we have to like create another counterforce to the original counterforce that we created that is too reactionary. That's the reason why Fethullah Gülen's schools are all around the country in the United States of America and all around the world. So, you know, that's always a cudgel that America will use against you. Even if you are a client state, they'll always have like fail-safe measures in place. What do you think about the theories that Erdogan's intelligence basically knew the coup attempt was coming and let it happen to gain popular support? I do agree with that. That's what I'm saying. I think like as far as that is the only conspiracy that I will lend credence to, because Erdogan did retaliate in a very calculated manner. He was no stranger to jailing his political opposition, jailing academics, jailing people all the time, because before the Fethullah Gülen marker became like a very popular reason for jailing whoever the fuck you want, before that, there was Ergenekon, right? There was always like, in Turkey, there's always been this understanding of a parallel government. Even before Fethullah Gülen was, you know, chosen to be the main villain, which he is, by the way. He is a fucking villain, okay? But even before then, there were many different cases that were launched. There were many different cases that were launched towards like people who oppose the government, that they considered to be a part of a deep state or a parallel government, and they were already jailing motherfuckers like left and right. You know what I'm saying? Like that was not, Erdogan is no stranger to doing that.
Hey everyone, I'm the editor. Thanks for watching till the end. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, then please drop a like and subscribe. Why not leave a Kaya L in the comments down below so that I know that you reached this point of the video? If you'd like more content like this one, then check the video up here on top of my head, or literally in front of my face right here.